Hello everyone. It's wonderful to see you again. We appreciate your presence with us today. A captivating tale awaits, one that stirs the heart and ignites the senses. Let us embark on this journey. My name is Robert, and I'm about to share the tale of my existence. A journey woven with longing and the thrill of uncharted emotions. Amelia and I first crossed paths in the vibrant halls of college. She was my first true love, the kind that cast a shadow over everything else, making it all feel insignificant in her presence. As the world around us grappled with uncertainty, we believed we had unraveled the mysteries of our hearts. In a moment of fervent passion, we chose to unite our lives early, driven by an intoxicating hope for the future. And a year later, our lives were forever changed with the arrival of our daughter, Christine. Those early years held a unique magic. We may not have had abundance, but we possessed just enough to feel alive. Life was uncomplicated. Life unfolds in the routine of work and home, nurturing Christine while visions of the future dance in my mind. I'll be honest, it wasn't always flawless, but there was a certain beauty in it. There were challenges, undeniably. Endless responsibilities, heated exchanges in the quiet hours, and those times when we felt utterly drained and overwhelmed. Yet in those moments of conflict, there was an undeniable pull that drew us back together, as if our hearts knew a truth that transcended the chaos. There lingered a profound understanding between us, a silent promise that we were intertwined, bound by an unbreakable connection, no matter the circumstances. And that was the moment I stumbled into my first misstep. I believed that our shared years created an unbreakable bond, a sanctuary of safety. That deep connection was enough to ignite our passion. I never imagined I would find myself fearing the loss of the woman who was the very foundation of my existence. After nearly 2 decades together, it's all too simple to believe that their presence is a constant in your life. Yet, the passage of time often leads souls to wander apart. And when the gap remains unseen, it catches you off guard when it finally strikes. Over the past couple of years, a profound shift has taken place. Once effortless exchanges now weighed heavy, transforming into a duty rather than a delight. Every small detail became a source of turmoil. What once brought us joy now held a weight that was both thrilling and unsettling, igniting feelings we had long buried. Initially, I convinced myself it was merely a challenging moment. Every union experiences them. Yet, turbulent times rarely linger for an eternity. We sought to mend the fragments of what once was. I struggled to accept that the fabric of our years together could fray so easily, as if it were nothing more than a delicate thread. We embarked on a journey, yearning for a shift in our surroundings to awaken something deep within us. And for a fleeting moment, it truly did. Perched on the shore, savoring the sweet taste of cocktails, masking the turmoil within as if all was well. It felt effortless to convince ourselves that everything was fine. Yet all good things must come to a close. Yet, with each return, the familiar shadows of our struggles loomed, unyielding and relentless, as if we had merely suspended time, avoiding the depths of our unspoken truths. So we ventured into the depths of therapy. That felt like a profound leap into uncharted territory. Initially, it was just a fleeting moment. In the quiet of that room, sharing my heart with someone who understood, a flicker of hope ignited within me. I believed this was the path we were meant to take, a path to navigate the tangled emotions we had turned into. Then, one fateful day during the session, Amelia casually revealed that she had rekindled a connection with an old friend. In those moments, I found myself entranced by her every word. I found myself devoid of any motivation to feel. We're all grown-ups here, aren't we? Connections with old friends linger in the shadows, whispering secrets of the past that stir the heart. I was unaware at that moment that this familiar face would ultimately be the force that separated us for good. Amelia began to guard her phone more closely, instinctively turning the screen away as I approached. In the stillness of the night, I would awaken to the soft luminescence of her screen, her delicate fingers dancing over the keys, igniting a longing deep within me. Whose words are you weaving into your thoughts? I inquired one evening, my voice heavy with the weight of slumber. Her gaze lingered just above the ground, as if the weight of unspoken yearnings held her captive. Joseph is navigating a tumultuous period in his life. That was her familiar justification. I yearned to embrace the truth of it. The mere idea that my wife of 19 years could be emotionally entwined with another man was a weight too heavy to bear. Then emerged the walls of protection. Whenever I dared to inquire about how often they spoke, I found myself cast as the villain. "It's not what you think," she'd retort, her eyes rolling as if I were merely a naive youth lost in my own feelings. "Your feelings seem to stem from a place of insecurity and suspicion." I felt a stirring within me, but it wasn't jealousy. I found myself witnessing my wife gradually fade, as she invested pieces of her essence into another, leaving me feeling like an unwelcome shadow in her life. Our exchanges grew increasingly brief. Reflecting on the past, I realized I should have faced it boldly. Yet, when you've woven your existence with another, the thought of their betrayal feels like a shattering illusion you refuse to accept. In an instant, the bond you believe to be unbreakable begins to fracture, leaving you alone in the struggle to piece it back together. Joseph was the one who once held Amelia's heart in the tender days of high school. In those fleeting years, their connection thrived on whispers exchanged in the shadows and stolen moments that danced on the edge of rules. Yet fate intervened. She ventured into the world of academia, while he chose a divergent journey. From the fragments she shared, their separation seemed to stem from a gradual drifting away from one another. It wasn't a tale of heartbreak, merely two young souls drifting apart, each carrying the weight of unspoken yearnings. And that was meant to be the final chapter. Yet years later, unexpectedly, Joseph reemerged in our lives. A single message ignited a spark long buried, awakening feelings that should have remained hidden. He had recently emerged from the shadows of a divorce, seeking solace in Amelia's wisdom. Initially, it appeared innocent, simply reconnecting with what once stirred my heart. Just two souls reconnecting in the shadows of their past. That's what she whispered to me. Yet, as time unfolded, the essence of Joseph began to weave itself deeper into the fabric of our union. Softly, like a whisper of longing that creeps into your heart, unnoticed until the weight of its truth becomes impossible to bear. The instant I realized this was far more than a simple reconnection was that night when Amelia found herself lost in her phone once more. At this moment, it had transformed into something habitual. I made a playful "Joseph," suggesting it must be quite an intriguing exchange. She erupted, her defenses rising as if I had just laid a heavy accusation at her feet. That night I reached a breaking point. I gazed deeply into Amelia's eyes and urged her with unwavering sincerity, "Sever ties with him. No longer can I feign ignorance of the truth that stirs within me." I anticipated pushback or a debate, yet what unfolded instead sent a shiver down my spine. Her laughter echoed, a sound both sweet and haunting, stirring something deep within. Then, with a voice that trembled with unspoken longing, she confessed, "I believe Joseph is the one who truly understands my heart." It felt destined for us to be together. Time slipped away as I lingered in that moment. Perhaps just a fleeting moment. Perhaps just a fleeting hour. My mind struggled to accept the truth. What do you say when the one you gave everything to, the one you built a life with, reveals that she was never truly yours? Was everything you shared merely an illusion, a fleeting error in the tapestry of your existence? A fateful misstep? I had always believed that regardless of how dark the days became, we would face them side by side. But now I understood that deep within her soul, she had already departed. I had been lost in my own shadows, unable to recognize the truth that lay before me. And here is the moment that shattered my very soul. Christine lingered in the adjacent room, her heart racing as she absorbed every whispered word, each one igniting a fire within her that she thought long extinguished. She stepped into the room, a rush of unspoken feelings swirling around her. I looked to her, yearning for a glimmer of understanding in the depths of my longing. As she gazed at her mother, a wave of disbelief washed over her, to question how she could utter such harsh words. Yet, she gazed at me with a serene, almost sorrowful look, and expressed, Mom should be with the one who ignites her deepest passions. Surely you wouldn't wish for her to feel any sorrow, would you? My own daughter, the one I had nurtured, shielded, and cared for, gazed at me as if I were the source of all her troubles. A deep yearning within me broke free. The anguish was overwhelming, the treachery cut to the core. If my wife viewed me as a misstep, and my daughter perceived me as a burden, then what was there truly worth striving for? The moment I stepped into the courtroom for the final hearing of our divorce, an unsettling emptiness washed over me. Individuals often speak of the struggle to preserve their union and nurture their loved ones. But what's the purpose of struggling when defeat is already upon us? Amelia yearned for Joseph, a longing that stirred deep within her, igniting a fire of passion that felt both exhilarating and perilous. Christine regarded me as a mere whisper in the shadows of her thoughts. Rather than enduring a futile struggle, I chose the only path that felt right to me. I released my grip. I took the step to file for divorce on my own. I refused to let Amelia dictate the timing of our connection any longer. When the moment arrived to separate it all, I chose to keep it uncomplicated. She yearned for something beyond the confines of financial obligations. All right, embrace the totality of what is offered. Embrace the treasures that are rightfully yours. There was an unspoken understanding, a quiet acceptance that transcended the mundane details of possessions and finances. Christine had reached adulthood, a reality that meant the absence of any child support. This transcended the notions of victory and defeat. This was about reaching a conclusion. When the judge inquired if I had anything to express, I could have launched into an elaborate discourse on treachery, on how nearly 2 decades of marriage had been transformed into a mere error. Yet, I found no purpose in sharing my anguish with those who had already closed their hearts to understanding. Thus, I chose brevity. I gazed forward, accepting the reality that if my wife chooses him and my daughter feels I was never sufficient, then I will not obstruct their path. That was the moment. No pleading, no theatrics, only the raw truth. On the surface, it may have seemed as though I was turning my back on them, as if I was stepping away from the duties that defined me as a husband and a father. Yet, in truth, I was liberating my soul. Initially, Christine brushes it off, not fully grasping the depth of what stirs within her. She believes my frustration is merely a passing storm, a moment that requires solitude to settle. In her eyes, I might be seen as merely indulging in a fleeting outburst, a way to exact some form of retribution on her and Amelia for the past events that haunt us. She believes, as she always has, that I will return to her once more. Regardless of the circumstances, I will always be the father she can turn to in her moments of need. She continues to anticipate my calls, my moments of connection, and above all, my unwavering support. Within her mind, everything remains untouched, yet a tempest brews beneath the surface. Perhaps she convinces herself that once she moves past this, everything will return to how it once was. Yet, the concept of normal has faded into oblivion. Time drifts by, then came the months, and I remain silent. I remain distant. I refuse to part with even a penny. Initially, she may believe I'm merely attempting to illustrate a lesson, aiming to evoke a sense of remorse within her. Yet, the weight of reality begins to envelop me. The relentless tide of bills keeps crashing in. Tuition payments remain a lingering obligation. The small indulgences that once filled her life with ease now vanished into the shadows of longing. And when she reaches out, there's only silence. The numbers she dials have faded into silence. The silence that follows her messages is deafening. She arrives at my former home, only to encounter an unfamiliar presence within its walls. In that moment, she comes to the painful understanding that I have truly departed. Not merely in the physical sense, but in every profound way that truly counted. For the first time in her life, she finds herself confronting a longing she never dared to acknowledge. A realm where the familiar embrace of a father no longer shields the heart from its deepest longings. A realm where the man she once overlooked is absent, leaving her to confront the chaos alone. Joseph was not her father. He was merely a figure from her mother's past, a fleeting shadow of a love that once burned brightly. A figure from the past, once lost to a different journey, now emerges unexpectedly, stirring feelings long buried and igniting a spark of longing. Christine had believed you would embrace the position I abandoned. Yet that's not the way it unfolds. A father holds a unique place in our hearts that cannot be filled by anyone else. Once you cast something aside, there's no simple way to bring it back. A wave of longing surged within me. She reached out, again and again, her heart aching with each attempt. I noticed the missed calls and the messages waiting for me. Yet I remained silent, not out of a desire to cause her pain, but from a place of emptiness within me. A year slipped by, and then, as if drawn by an unseen force, she finally found me. I can't fathom the way she managed it. But one fateful day, she appeared before me. She expressed her regret. She confessed she hadn't taken my perspective into account. She finally acknowledged her mistakes, realizing how she had dismissed me as merely an inconvenience in her mother's life. And I surrendered to her truth. Yet, faith does not equate to erasure. I held my silence. In that moment, I gazed into her eyes and revealed my deepest feelings. Go embrace the connection with your mother and her chosen companion. In her expression, I witnessed the instant of realization, a spark igniting something deep within her, that her presence was unwelcome in that existence, that no one could ever cherish her with the same depth of feeling as I did. And that longing? It was bound by constraints. The connection with Christine has shifted, no longer echoing the intimacy it once held. Once, she held the power to reach out to me for anything her heart desired. Funds for education, reflections on existence, even a simple outpouring about her mother. In those moments, I was always present, always ready to embrace the connection, without a moment's pause. Yet, at this moment, now I linger in uncertainty. Now I pause, reflecting deeply before I respond. I maintain my defenses not out of choice, but out of necessity. My heart hesitates, caught in a web of uncertainty. That's the bittersweet reality. I long to embrace what we once had, yet I know that trust is fragile and cannot simply be restored as if the past had never touched us. When the one you cherish gazes into your eyes and prioritizes another's joy above your own, a profound shift occurs within you. In my darkest moments, she chose her mother over me. Despite her apologies and her desire to mend what's broken, I find it impossible to erase the past from my heart. Words cannot heal the scars of the heart. Time remains indifferent. Only actions reveal the depths of our hidden longings. We maintain our connection, but only when it suits me. Access has been restricted. No longer will I abandon everything to rush to her side as I once did. When she reaches out, I respond only when the longing stirs within me. If I choose not to, I allow it to resonate endlessly. When she sends a message, I take my time before replying. I savor each moment. This transcends the notion of punishment for her. It's about safeguarding my heart. I will not be the man who is trampled upon simply for the depth of my affection. My heart remains tethered to her, undeniably. She is my beloved child. Yet, affection must flow in mutual currents. And if she truly wishes to be part of my world, she must show me her commitment. The pain of losing my marriage was profound. I refused to sit in silence and act as if it never happened. To share nearly 2 decades with someone, to weave a life together and nurture a child, only to part ways, leaves an ache deep within, as if a vital part of your soul has been torn away. It transcended the affection I felt for Amelia. It was the passage of time, the unspoken sacrifices, and the fleeting moments that wove the fabric of our existence. In an instant, everything unraveled with a single revelation, a pivotal decision. And despite my desperate attempts to convince myself that everything was okay, the reality was that I was far from it. The pain was unbearable. The painful sting of my daughter's betrayal that pierced my soul more profoundly than anything else. As Christine locked her gaze with mine and urged me to step aside for her mother's happiness, I felt a profound shift within me, a revelation that shattered my heart in an unforeseen manner. Yet, despite the pain, I found myself liberated. Liberated from a partner who never truly desired me. Liberated from a daughter who failed to honor my worth. Liberated from a place that had turned into a haunting echo of my past. Allow me to share something with you. Liberation can often stir a tumult of feelings, leaving one in a state of confusion before the heart finds its true path. It feels profoundly isolating. It's exhilarating, yet it feels more fulfilling than pleading for a place in a heart that has turned away. I followed the path that beckoned me, driven by an undeniable pull. I found myself anew. With each fragment of my past, I began to rebuild, embracing the thrill of what was once hidden. Indeed, it was a challenging journey. Yet with each passing day, the burden on my heart began to ease, revealing a flicker of something once hidden. And that leads me to the true essence of why I'm sharing all of this with you. Perhaps there are those among you who find yourselves navigating a journey that resonates deeply with your own hidden longings. You may find yourself clinging to a connection that has long since faded for the other person. If that is the truth, listen closely to my words. If someone confesses that their heart belongs to another, release them gently. No amount of shared past can overshadow the intensity of what stirs within. No matter the journey you've shared, it holds no weight now. As soon as those words escape their lips, a part of them has already slipped away. Sometimes the best choice is to turn away, preserving the essence of who you are. When your own flesh and blood turns away from you, the heartache is a burden too heavy to bear, one that I would never wish upon another soul. Yet, one cannot compel another to recognize their value, not even those who share their own blood. If they perceive you as a barrier, take a step back. Allow them to unravel the depths of their own emotions as they confront the void left by your absence. For there will come a day when they shall. Heartache dissipates. Self-respect endures through the shadows of longing. I discovered that through a tumultuous journey. Yet I embraced the lessons nonetheless. And if you remember nothing else from this, let this linger in your heart. At times, stepping back can reveal a deeper truth within oneself. It's a triumph. Often it can bring pain. Yet, if you choose to linger, the pain will surely follow. Share with me, what choices would you have made if you found yourself in my position? Could you have turned your back as I did? Or would you have struggled to hold onto a bond that had faded away, leaving you yearning for what once was? For I shall speak the truth to you. I found myself pondering that very question. Did I show weakness by walking away? Did I lack courage for not standing my ground? People often express the importance of holding firm, of refusing to allow anyone to seize what belongs to you. Yet, I long to understand the choices you might have made.